going on Facebook? It's your boy Dave, the Roof Poppy, your favorite roofer's favorite roofer, MFCEO here at A5 Roofing, and kind of the head guy over here at Roofing Underground too. Got a guest in the studio today, my dear friend, a guy that I've met through social media. It feels like it was quite a while ago now. I don't exactly remember when we first met. I just remember the content is what caught my attention, right? And we kind of became friends, you know, acquaintances. But 161,000 followers on just one of his social media channels. He's got 3 businesses that he's actively involved in. And one of them is also including roofing, being an independent contractor in sales in the roofing industry, kicking that career off, and a father of 3 wonderful, amazing kids. And he's got a healthy co-parenting relationship with his baby mom. My friend, Jacob Lopez. Jacob, thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate it, man. This is it's gonna be a good time, and I appreciate, I always like your content. So to be on here, it's an honor.
I appreciate that, dude. So we've been working together now for going on probably about 3 months, right? It feels like about 3 months, maybe 4 months, because there was you came in, right? You got into roofing, and then you kind of went back to doing what you know for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then that lasted for like a month and a half. Now you're here and you're doing roofing again, and this is like full time for you now. And it feels like, I'm being the boss for a second, right? Like right here on fucking Facebook Live. It feels like you're doing good. When I'm looking at the scoreboard, right? The CRM, I see the leads, I see the jobs coming in, I see these. We're dealing with this adjuster on the windows that I posted that letter on Facebook about, the email, right? So we've got a lot of deals going for you, man. How in the fuck do you find the time, bro, to manage all these things on top of being a dad?
You got to. You got to make it work. You got to. It's not even say balance, because you're gonna have one day you're gonna do this more than the other, but at the end of the day, your goal is to make sure you did better than what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, my kids look up to me, so I'm just like, okay, well, I got to figure it out, and I can't tell you what solution I use. I can't tell you, because every situation is different. Every day is different.
Roger that.
So it's just, got to roll with it.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with one of the guys on the team this morning, and he asked me real nonchalantly, he said, hey, this homeowner that I have asked me to go to lunch, with him. I said, pick a nice restaurant. And he was like, no, man, I'm just, I'm like a Chick-fil-A kind of guy. And I said, no, listen, I said, if somebody invites you to lunch, there's a reason why they're inviting you to lunch.
Yeah.
But as soon as you realize that you're in a negotiation, don't be a cheap bitch, number one, right? I don't care what this guy's after. If he wants a deal on his roof, or he wants to hire you because this dude's a commercial contractor, right?
Yeah.
He's a commercial GC. And this young man that I'm talking about is a very knowledgeable, very smart young guy. But he didn't see himself as the way that guy saw him. And I said, number one, you need to mature your mindset, mature the way that you think, right? Number two, remember that you're always in a negotiation.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, well, even if it's him trying to offer me a job. And I said, yeah, you better tell him the starting salary is $150K, motherfucker. And then you come tell me, hey, Dave, I got bad news, bud. Because if that's a good opportunity for you, who am I to tell you don't take it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being real. I can be the boss and own the business and want to keep guys here, but also know, like, hey, listen, whatever's best for you might not be in line with what I want you to do at the end of the fucking day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So your mindset is just like, fuck it, why not? There's shit to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to. You can't try to, there's not even enough hours in the day. No matter what time you start, you're going to.
24.
Yeah. That's all you got.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, I can't tell you like exactly what I do or how I do it. It's just, once it comes to me, I just roll with it.
So that's kind of like, that's been kind of your thing that I've noticed about you since you've been here, is you are a real roll with the punches, handle shit as it comes, right? Like, the one thing that I like and I respect about you, man, a lot, and I'll be honest with you, is that you cannot fuck you up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen in the last 3 months, life throw some fucking things at you that would cripple motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest with you, bro. I've seen it. and I've seen you handle this shit like a G, you know, and none of it's comfortable and none of it's fun, right? But sometimes people die, things happen, houses burn down, whatever the fuck happens, right? Life will throw some shit at you, dude. But you've handled that shit really well, man.
Thank you.
Really well, and I know I don't take any credit for that, but I'm, as your friend, man, I'm proud of you for doing what you're doing, dude. I just want you to know in front of God and everybody that doesn't go unnoticed, bro.
I appreciate it. I try not to put it out there like that, but
Yeah.
you know, because at the end of the day, I got to keep going. No matter what happens, I got 3 kids, man. If I didn't have kids, that'd probably be a different story. But
You ain't lying.
you know, I grew up, you know, seeing the struggle, and I promised myself that I'll never let my kids see. I may struggle, but I'll never let my kids see
No,
that
you
happen.
ain't wrong, dude.
So that's
Damn, that reminds me of so much shit, bro. You know.
yeah,
I've told that story a lot, and I know I've told you the story about, you know, where I came from
Yeah.
and where life was when I got started in roofing sales, right? And it's fucking real similar, bro. My children never missed a fucking snack. They never missed a meal. We could go to HEB and it was fucking all hands on deck, dude. We had gushers and gummies and fruit roll-ups and Pop-Tarts and you know, all their chicken nuggets and cheeseburgers and corn dogs and shit.
and that's what it is. Like those little things mean the most to them. Like I know they want big toys and stuff, but if they can go to that fridge and pull out a yogurt, or you know,
Yeah.
or go to the snacks and get their chips or get their cookies, man,
Yeah.
that makes they'll forget about the other big stuff because they know, hey, I got the little stuff right here, and
Yeah,
that's
it's
what
here.
matters. You
Dude,
know,
you're not lying, not one fucking bit, bro. Like I think back to those times, and I remember eating a can of peas and carrots for dinner while my kids ate chicken nuggets and Capri Suns and shit like that. And I just remember, I'm like, not them.
yeah,
You know, I get to pick
Yeah.
who's gonna fucking suffer and who's gonna go. That shit used to piss me off when I would see, you know, parents go to the gas station and roll in there, not get a single thing for their kids, but roll in there and get a fucking gigantic Dr. Pepper, you know, and come back out and stuff, but have the audacity to tell their kids, no, we don't have the money for that.
yeah.
Fuck, man. You know, like, give the kid a goddamn Coke.
Yeah,
You know what I
something.
mean?
Give 'em a
Give the
candy
kid
bar or
But
something, yeah.
That's the difference. I feel like there are a lot of people, maybe even parents, right? There's a lot of people that are just so focused on them that they forget, even if they're not somebody's biological parent.
Yeah.
You have a fucking job to do.
Oh yeah,
You know, and to me, is like it's trying to be the leader that not just my kids need, but what about the kids that hang out with my kids?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a big calling, bro.
yeah. It is, and it's crazy you say that because it's like I attract the kids, and then it's like, you know, the way I see these things with my kids is I picture myself. I was them one, you know, once. I would hate to be mistreated just because either I wasn't part of the family or, you know, they didn't like my parents. So even if me and their parents have a conflict, like it has nothing to do with the kid.
Yeah.
A kid needs to feel loved, and that's how I treat all the people. Everybody's kid that comes around is like,
Yeah.
you know,
They
even
all
your
play-
girls,
they-
like, like they play with me, and I'm just like, cool. It doesn't bother me. It's just because I see my kids. I would hate for my kids to go somewhere and an adult disrespect them, and they feel like, oh man, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see as being as an adult when it comes to kids.
Right. And so you've got 3 kids.
3.
Now you're not with your children's mom. You guys have been separated for how long now? If you don't mind me asking.
A little over 3 years now.
Little over 3 years. And it just from my perspective, I up until real recently, I didn't have a very stable co-parenting relationship with my daughter's mom. Right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is. But it took a lot of getting over anger and hurt, right? And a lot of feelings of betrayal and shit
Yeah.
for me to get to the point where I just wasn't mad at her anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And so now we can kind of deal with things as adults when it comes to the kids. It feels like, from my perspective, looking at your content, first of all, because you're very vocal about this.
Yeah.
You guys have a pretty solid fucking co-parenting relationship. Like, I've even seen y'all at school events.
Yeah.
Not sitting next to each other, you know what I mean? But the kids are right there between you, and
Yeah.
y'all are talking, and everyone's getting along. Dude, how in the fuck did y'all figure that out, man?
It was just, it just happened. Like, you know, once the separation happened, it was just like kids. It's all about the kids. Me and you, that's it. You know, it didn't work out, you know, and I feel like a lot of people missed the goal of still being the parent for the kids rather than being bitter to the other parent.
Wow.
and put it on the kids, and then it makes the
Guilty,
animosity,
bro.
you know. And but it
Yeah.
happens, you know what I'm saying? You know, especially if you have everybody's situation is different,
Yeah.
right? So like your situation is way different. So you had that towards her,
Right.
and with me and her was just like, okay, it's a mutual agreement. This is not gonna work.
I got
That's
you.
why
A little
you're,
different.
you're a little
Yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah.
You know, when you have somebody like all deep into it, and then somebody does something wrong, and they separate. I think that's what makes the problem come arise, or when they're still like, you know, trying to mess with each other, and then they're just like feelings get involved, and they both know they're not going to be with each
Right.
other. So that's just like once we left it, since day one, it's just
Yeah.
been not it's no more me and you.
Everybody
Yeah,
understood.
yeah. Don't get in my
Yeah.
business. Don't get in your business.
No
As long as the
shit.
kids are not in the way, you know you're grown. We're all grown here. You know.
Damn.
So
How old are you, bro?
34.
34. That's some pretty mature shit. You know what I mean? For you were 31 at the when all the separation stuff happened. That's a pretty matured. I mean, like maybe it's not. Maybe that's a normal, healthy way to fucking handle things. Your boy Dave's just traumatized. You know what I mean? But so like truth to that. There's a little truth to that, right? I came from a very dysfunctional upbringing,
Yeah.
right? There was a lot of violence and trauma growing up where I was at, you know, and I brought in my understanding of what relationships looked like because I had been painted this fucked up picture for
Yeah.
many years. I brought that into my adult relationships and continued to have, you know, intimate, fucked up, dysfunctional relationships. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and that's a lot. It happens, and see, with me, it happened the same way. I had that. I grew up with a lot of women, my aunts, my sister. So I saw the hurt, the disrespect they got from men. So when it happened to me, I was like, okay, I picture my ex as my mom, like
Yeah.
the shit she had to go through. Like I don't want to do that to her, and I don't want my kids to look at me and be like, man, like
No shit.
what happened? So I flipped the script and I broke, you know, generational curses with the stuff that I'm doing because, like I said, I picture myself as that little kid waiting at the door, or you know, sitting in my room and hearing my parents argue, or you know, where's my dad today, things like that. So I never wanted my kids to ever get to that point where it's like, man, my dad this or my dad that. So I'm like, I always put myself in my kids' shoes.
I didn't, you know, I say that I felt like at least I took that kind of shit into consideration, right? Like after my separation with my ex, we weren't married, so there was nothing like legal process we had
Yeah.
to go through. There was just a lot of anger,
Yeah.
you know, between both parties, man. And we had two little girls together, and I decided to do what you were talking about, break a generational curse, right? In a different way. I decided that I didn't ever want to be a separated parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I just felt like that was just me falling into a bracket of being a fucking statistic, and that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I resented my ex for a long time for putting me in that position, for putting us both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I bared a lot of guilt for the way that I treated her too, because you know I wasn't fair. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like and we can all be responsible adults about that shit now, but man, I decided to change the way that my children's life was going to be, and I didn't really have a relationship outside of that dysfunctional one with my ex for many years until I met my now wife, right? And that was 3 years ago. And so it was a big learning experience for me, but I became the dad that my dad was, not with the violence and the things towards my children, but in the arguing with my ex and the kids and
Yeah.
you know the bullshit, and you know my kids were just like, you know, daddy, you know, I just want you and mommy to get along.
Yeah.
And I you know, what do I say to my daughters? I tell them the truth as I could paint it to them.
Yeah.
You know, hey, listen, you know, mommy and daddy don't always agree on things, and sometimes mommy and daddy get their feelings hurt,
Yeah.
you know, and then we say things we shouldn't say.
Yeah.
But I hadn't completely figured that thing out yet, man. So you know, from you to me, bro, I look at your content that you put out on those things, and that is inspiring to me. So I take a lot of guidance from you in that aspect, man, because I think that you should only be willing to take the advice of people that are capable of doing the shit that they're trying to tell you about.
Yeah.
and you're obviously qualified in that fucking realm, bro. And that's a very difficult, that's a very rare thing to find, man.
It is.
You're
Sometimes
still fucking single too, right?
yeah, I'm still single, man, and it's crazy sometimes because I'll sit back and I'm like, man, like, you know, it's easy and it's hard at the same time, you know, because sometimes you want to let your feelings get in the way.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I'm just like, oh, okay, you know what? It's not worth it. Just let it slide. And because you let your feelings get in the way, then it's just a domino effect of this, this, and this, and this. And then it's just like, if you would have just shut your mouth and turned around,
Problems occur.
yeah,
Right.
you know, and it, like I said, it just, you just got to watch your mouth. And it took a lot.
Right.
You know, it takes a lot. I mean, our co-parenting is great. I mean, of course, we have our differences, like any relationship would, you know. But
Correct.
you just pick and choose your battles, and you know, I'm not trying to battle nobody.
Right.
So
I imagine it took you not very long. It doesn't sound like it took you very long to do that stuff. Has that and the content that you create on TikTok and Facebook and your Instagram, a lot of that content is about co-parenting relationships, and a lot of your stuff's just fucking hilarious, dude. A lot of it's just funny, entertaining things.
Yeah.
You know, like you doing little stitches and you know things like that.
Yeah.
But then you get the inspirational stuff, and then you get the relationship stuff,
Yeah.
right? And I'm kind of impressed from, you know, a content creator standpoint, wherever the fuck you want to call it. I'm kind of impressed because that's like what I see the three things that you kind of post the most about, you know, those three kind of realms, dude. What is it like for you creating content, especially when it comes to the shit that you're dealing with in life, man? Is that an easy thing for you? Is it uncomfortable? Was it uncomfortable?
at first it was. At first it was because I was like, man, like, you know, people interpret things differently, right?
Right.
So I can come out and trying to tell my feelings or what I'm going through. Some are gonna tell you like, oh, like this dude's complaining or he wants people to feel sorry for him. Until I started posting deep and crazy things that nobody talks about, you know.
Right.
I started getting messages from grown ass men and grown ass women like, bro, like, thank you for sharing that. Like, it helps me. So now I pick and choose. Like, do I say what I feel because I know somebody else is feeling it, or am I worried about that one or two people that are gonna be like talking shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I'd rather help other people that are scared come out and seek help or want to see what I'm going through because they go through it and helps them than to let people just talk. You know, because no matter what you do, good or bad in this world, somebody always has something to say.
Somebody's gonna have
So
something
at the end of the day, I just whatever makes me happy and whatever I know that's help somebody else, I'll do it all day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've got a couple of reels on Facebook that are at the, you know, 90,000, 100,000 view mark and stuff. You know, 200, 400 comments, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like 7 of them, people talking shit. You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean? Like one time, dude called me Donkey Kong. He's like, look at Donkey Kong on a roof, right? You know, just the dumbest shit in
Yeah,
the world,
and that's
man.
what it is too. Like one of my co-parenting videos got like 3.4 million views, and there's like 30,000 comments. You know, and to go through those things, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, you can't do
And you know, you get people like, "Oh, you're still in love with your ex," and then women. A lot of them is crazy. A lot of women were bitter. Oh, just say you want to be back with her, and just do that. I'm like, you wouldn't want this kind of relationship.
Yeah,
You know
just
what I mean?
'cause you
Like,
got some crazy
yeah, just because you're,
dysfunctional bullshit.
yeah, like, but no, it's
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
they all live in San Antonio
yeah.
too, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, like,
Full of crazy exes.
crazy. Yeah,
Man, nice. So how long you been in San Antonio, bro?
born and raised,
Born and
34
fucking
years.
raised. Never moved out.
Never moved out.
Stayed here.
Stayed here.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. No, San Antonio. So it's most of my family on my mom's side is in and around San Antonio. I've got some aunts and uncles, and my sister, my oldest sister Sam. Shout out. My oldest sister lives over on the west side. I don't see her near as often as I should, man. Especially since we're only like 45 minutes or an hour apart. But still, I've got a lot of ties to San Antonio. I first left San Antonio at Tim Duncan's rookie year, right? So like 92 or some shit like that, right? So that's when I first moved away from San Antonio. And then like 4 years later, we were right back.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, it's been this part of Texas for me my whole life, and San Antonio has always kind of felt like home.
Yeah.
Even though I live in New Braunfels now,
Yeah.
you know.
But that's not far. Now,
Yeah.
as far as, as fast as the city is growing, New Braunfels is just a short drive.
Yeah.
Compared to before, it was like, oh man, going to New Braunfels is far. Now it's just right
Right.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like it's pretty close now.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the way that I-35, bro, tell me they have not been building I-35 for a long fucking time.
Since before I was born, man.
I'm telling you, dude, this shit never stops. I want to be the contractor that's getting those fucking jobs where we can just keep, hey, listen, when we get to this end of the roof, start tearing it off down there again. And we're going to rebuild it back this fucking way. And when we get back here, guess what we're doing, boys?
Yep.
We're going back to the fucking other side
That's
again.
what it seems like.
That's what, that has to be what the fuck they're doing, bro. Because, like, tell me what they're doing right. How much sense does this fucking make? How much sense do you have to, how big of a fucking retard do you have to be to not understand that what you're building right now is not going to be sustainable in 15 years when you finish the fucking and we're going to need to widen this bitch again because we keep packing more and more people into the city.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are we fucking doing here? You know, leave it how it is and start taking people's cars off the road. You know
Something,
what I mean? Like,
figure something out, bud.
Yeah. Put timers in the car. They're all electric anyways. Like, you can't drive between this and this time. Power your shit down.
Or you can't drive down 35. You gotta go alternate route.
You gotta go another way, or make 1604 one fucking way, all the way around. You know
once you get on it, that's it.
You gotta go all the way the fuck around, bro. It is what it is. All 8 lanes headed one direction. That would solve a lot of fucking problems. I promise you. People
don't miss the exit. You better.
Yeah. Don't fucking miss.
Yeah.
Damn. So, over 160,000 followers on social media, videos with it's probably higher than that. Millions of views on these videos. You got good content going out there and stuff. How easy was it for you to? James Allen said electric bikes everywhere. There would be electric dirt bikes everywhere. There would be, absolutely. James at GAF, man, he helped us out over here with Roof Camp. GAF came through clutch, so I really appreciate James for that. But so you got all this shit going on, man, and it feels like somebody that's putting themselves out there, they kind of have to find their tone of voice, right? Like what it is that they're trying to get out, their message and stuff, and then not look at the bullshit, the people that are talking shit and mocking them or whatever. But stay focused on figuring out who you are. How did you figure out what it was that you had to say and how you wanted to say it?
It just actually, like I said in the beginning, it was hard to talk because of that. Really? And then once I got comfortable with it, I just saw like, how many people it was helping. I forgot about how I was feeling at the time. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna speak it, and if it reaches who it needs to reach, it'll reach. Yeah. And of course, you got the negative, and then once I just weeded out the negative and not even paid attention to them, even some of the negative helped me. Like, okay, like I didn't see it in that way because everybody has their own opinion. So when they would say something, I'll look at them like, oh, okay, and I would just kind of adjust how I would approach things, and just then after that, it just was natural.
Just kind of being who you are, right? Just having to say what you have to say.
I think that's what makes it easy because it's all me. You know, what you see on the videos, you in person, you'll get the same thing. I don't got to act, so it's not like, oh man, like kind of this and that. It's just like I go out there and just speak.
There's a lot of weirdos on social media, and there's somebody for everybody. You know what I mean? There are some accounts. There's some fucking accounts that I come across, like a lady who likes to sniff her cats. Or some she's like smells their heads and shit, gets real close. And it's just fucking like videos of her doing that. Tens of thousands of followers, bro. Yeah. What kind of weird motherfuckers are sitting down like clicking subscribe to this YouTube channel? Yeah. But again, 10,000s of followers, and she's probably making hundreds or thousands of dollars a fucking month doing
just
that
smelling
shit.
a cat.
Just smelling her fucking cats, bro, because of weirdos. People like to watch some weird shit. So but you have a social media following. Tell me about who the people are that are typically, if you had to mine Facebook, nothing but a fucking bunch of roofers. You know what I mean? And a lot of real estate agents and a lot of insurance adjusters, oddly enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I get people from both sides of the battlefield. But I don't fucking fight dirty, so I kind of get respect from a
From
lot of
both,
people
yeah.
on the insurance side.
Because you speak the truth,
Yeah,
man. That's
I
what
know.
it is.
I'm just gonna fucking tell you what the situation actually is.
Yeah.
You know.
So mine is it's a mixture of some businesses because like I said I got the business that I have, so I make business connections, and the other ones a lot of people, I would say a lot of single moms, because of the content that I bring.
Bro, come on, dog.
Yeah.
And you're still single?
Yeah, they're single for a reason. That's why they're single for a reason. Yeah.
Oh my god. Dude, okay, so San Antonio is a shitty dating pool then. Is that the truth? Square business? Because I'm going to be honest with you, bro, I gave away a whole fucking life secret by saying square business right there on fucking Facebook. Square business. Look, check it out though. Okay. No more talk. I met Jackie on Hinge. Right, like when we were just like followed I swiped right and she had already swiped right or some shit, and it was like bing match, and I was like in there, So I shot my shot, and we became friends on Instagram for like many months before we ever had our first date. Many months before we ever had our first date. And I swear to God, I tell Jackie this all the time. She thinks I'm full of shit. The moment I watched her walk into Pasha in shirts, I told myself I'm gonna marry this girl. I swear to fucking God, bro, on everything I love. I said, that's it. I'm going to marry this girl. I know it.
Not in San Antonio. I'll be like, oh, I'm already divorced.
We were in San Antonio. You know what I mean? That's
you were
in
oh.
Yeah. Now, before Jackie, there were a bunch of fucking cast members that had to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was listen, there was plenty of that before I met the most wonderful woman in the whole world.
Yeah.
So I will attest, and I will say, as a single dad, this is a very shitty place to be trying to date, because ain't nothing but a bunch of single moms looking for fucking stepdads, And I was already a real dad. I didn't want to be a bonus dad. You know what I mean? I didn't want to deal with all that shit. But unfortunately, there's a bunch of single moms in San Antonio, and you're saying a lot of these single moms follow you on Facebook. They follow your social media and your content.
Yeah, because most of them, they of course, they ask me like the situation, how can I help them make their co-parenting work, and that's what most of it is like they're trying to figure out how.
Okay, so they're coming to you like people on the Dr. Phil show
They
trying to get advice.
They come
damn
the Mexican
well
Dr.
Daniel
Phil.
Bergoli is not. That's not the Cash Me Outside girl is on your show asking you for life advice. That's not something you date. You're absolutely right, my friend. Yeah, no, damn sure. That should be one of the first things when a chick ever slides in your DMs, you'd be like, do you follow my social media content and why? And when she starts with because, my baby daddy and the kids, block. Fucking block. Block them.
Right, no.
Block them. Block them.
Yeah.
Block them, bro. So tell me about that. Tell me how is that work? Is that I didn't have thousands of followers on social media when I was single. Does that help? Does that help you as a single guy any at all?
I mean, not really. I mean, I get to see a lot more than some. I get to experience a lot of different type of women, like from
Just
young to old. Yeah, in
and
conversation. I'm like, I see why you're single.
I mean, you got to, you got to point that out there. Just not because you're being a hoe.
No, like in conversation, because we
conversational.
conversate, and it's just like, okay, you present yourself as such on social media, but when you talk or message, it's like, oh, this is why you probably have problems.
It's a little different. Yeah,
it's a whole different story, and it's just like, wow, like it's wild.
What's the weirdest shit that somebody's ever said? What's the weirdest shit somebody's ever said in your DMs, dog?
I've had a lot of weird, too much weird shit. I just sometimes I open it, I'm like, what? Why would you even think that? I've had women when I first, not lately, but like when I first started out, they just were like, hey, just can you get me pregnant? You don't have to do the kid.
Say what?
Dude, they wanted to have my kid. That's it. And I'm like,
because they were like, you're gonna be cool about it. We're not gonna fight.
Yeah. I was like, well, they're like, yeah, like you're just a good man, and I would want a baby by you. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Big old red flag, dog.
Yeah.
Huge red flag. Yeah. Block them.
I did. I sure blocked them. And I have people having full conversations with me, like, "Hey, babe, I miss you," and I'm like on my videos, not even the DM, they're
In the
in
comments,
the comments.
setting you
Oh,
up.
it's good to see you again. I can't wait to see you. And I'm like, are you not even from here?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you got
Bots.
yeah. I'm like,
You
nah.
get those too? The Chinese people?
No,
The
oh,
Chinese bots?
they are
Real
real
people?
people.
Real people.
Real people.
Commenting on
Yeah, like that.
real shit.
I get somebody tias on my shit all the time. Oh, mijo. I'm like, oh no, tia.
Take care of you.
I'm like, if you get on the first
Oh
15, maybe.
man.
But yeah, it's wild, man. So like now I'm just like, before I was like, wow. Now I'm not even amazed no
even-
more with the stuff I
Not
do.
even phased by it
I'm just
anymore.
like,
The first few times that I had, content that was, viral or whatever the fuck, I remember I would get pissed off when people would talk shit, in the comments.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why are you fucking up? This is how I feel. I'd be like, dude, it took me to edit and create this shit, and you're here talking shit. You know what I mean? You're fucking armchair quarterbacking my motherfucking content, and I'm having a conversation. I'm trying to create an image or paint this picture or to do this thing, accomplish this goal, and I've just got some guy just shitting in my comment section about how stupid I am or whatever, right?
yeah,
And at first, it used to bother me, right? And I get pissed, and I would respond, but I would try to respond real classy. And I would be like, too bad about your fucked up, sorry about your piece of shit truck, bro, or something like that, right? Like I would just clap back at people, but now it's just kind of like, I don't even give them the fucking energy. I try not to anymore.
Oh, yeah,
Some of these motherfuckers get the smoke though.
yeah,
Some of these people got to get the smoke. My favorite thing, like, and this has been my big thing in 2024, is people talking about, starting over my, the, new year, new me, right? You're the same motherfucker you were at December 31st at 11:59 p.m. Nothing fucking about you has changed. You may have made a decision to start doing something, but unless you establish a pattern of behavior that's going to take you through whatever it is you've decided January 1st is going to fucking be, you're still the same motherfucker with the same skills and abilities talking about doing the same shit on January 1st of 2025. Those people are going to be doing the same motherfucking thing. New year, this is my year.
Yeah.
This is my year, right? Woo, it's been your motherfucking year.
yeah.
It's been your year. And that's kind of, I feel like a lot of what I get from Jacob Lopez is that mindset, man.
Yeah.
Is that like, I have to do it, and it has to be now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as I've known you, dude, personally, I've known you. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, man, I haven't seen something fucking break you yet.
Yeah.
And I know, my wife and I were talking, and she said, how do you get somebody to think about losing everything in their pursuit of a goal if they've never lost everything before? They can't fathom that. I know what it's like to have everything taken from me. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be stripped of everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so I you can't fucking put me back there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I will refuse to ever put myself in that position again, to ever be in that fucking place again, bro.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, knowing what it's like to be broke, homeless, poor, and naked, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's some shit that a lot of motherfuckers would break.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the people that talk about, their strength and their, overcoming adversity, there is some shit in people's lives that would fucking crumble most of these motherfuckers that are putting out content that are saying that same message, dude. But I feel like I've seen you go through some shit.
Yeah.
And I've known you long enough to have these stories, man, to hear what kind of man you are and what kind of father you are and what kind of character you have. And so as your boss, dude, I admire that. As your friend,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I fucking admire that a lot from you, man. So I'm really I'm actually really happy you came this evening and hang out with me.
I know.
See, you still got your fucking work shirt on. This dude's got a roof camp hat on. He's all about it. We had Joseph O'Brien. Here's a comment here from Joseph. It says, "What was your reaction when you first started getting reactions to your content from places across the country, and how did you feel that people from different places and backgrounds were relating to your content?
That is that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was on live and I had some lady that was on the next day. She was the next day already. I remember where she was at, some part of the world. She was like, "Yeah, it's already." It was like at 10 o'clock at night here, and it was 8 in the morning over. Comments, like I said, from people from all over, from all ages, and it's like that's what made me keep wanting to produce more
Really?
because it's like it's not just me, and letting everybody else know that hey, it's not just you. It's people that you think that are like the happiest people in the world. They're probably doing the same thing inside their mind, and I open doors for a lot of people because they're like, man, like I thought that I only experienced this, and all my family this and all my family that, and then even I had family come up to me and say, I went through the same thing you went through, and I never talked to nobody about it. And it's like once you're able to feel that kind of emotion or connection with somebody, it's a whole weight lifted off your back because it's like now you feel like because before I would feel like people saw me different when they didn't even know. The crazy thing is like I felt like people were seeing through me for the stuff that I was going through, and now that people see what I'm going through, they don't even see me close to what I thought they were seeing me through.
Really?
So it's like a 360 once you realize, you know what, I can talk about it, and then when you talk about it, it's just like, okay,
You
now,
stopped being the funny guy
yeah,
and started just sharing a little bit.
yeah, and
You know,
and that's how I grew up was just being the funny guy. So I would hide the pain and hide from people asking me questions about what I went through, and now I can talk about what I go through and still be the funny guy, and it connects.
I had one time I was at I don't remember, I can't remember where this was, but I had somebody walk up to me that I didn't know, like personally. I'd never met them before, and his name's John. I'm not gonna say his last name because I don't want to throw his business out there. But this guy John walked up to me and he said, "Hey, I know you don't know me, but I follow you on social media." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. How you doing, man? Da da da." He was like, "Great. I just wanted to personally come up and thank you." And I don't remember which thing it was that I put on Facebook, but he said that he was really dealing with some hard shit in his life with his marriage with his wife. They were like 16 years or some shit, and he saw something that I had posted on social media. I don't remember if it was a video or a post, but he said that it really made him start thinking about things. And he said, "You saved my marriage, dude." And to me, I was like, that was pretty big,
Yeah,
for me, because I think about what I used to tell myself when I was a young adult, what I was capable of, you know,
yeah,
because I had heard my whole life exactly what I'm supposed to be capable of.
yeah.
And it's nothing like what we're fucking doing today.
It's a whole
You know
different.
what I mean? It's a
Yeah,
whole different thing, dude. We're sitting in a fucking $1 million commercial building with fucking $5,000 of podcast equipment, $10,000 worth of fucking lights and shit, and a $5 million roofing company. Like, fuck these people.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's what I was told my whole life. I'd never fucking have no shit like this. And I would damn sure not be able to impact somebody's life so much that they would turn around and say, "Hey, something you said saved my motherfucking marriage." That's fucking crazy to me.
yeah.
That I was that's something that I didn't even consider and stuff. And so I'm sure that you've had some moments where people have genuinely come up and thank you, and that's fucking hard sometimes.
Yeah. I was actually in a fiesta of all places, right downtown. Everybody's
Downtown.
drinking, and we're there. I'm with my friends, and this guy. I felt somebody tap me, and I turned around. This guy was tattooed, bald gangster, tattooed from his head to his feet. He said, "You're that guy that talk, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bro," he's like, "I love your content. I appreciate it," and just turned around and walked away. And I'm just like, you know how much probably it took for him to go over there and to tell me thank you.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Because he
man,
follows you on
yeah.
TikTok.
And then another two, I had a family member was like, he had called me, I answered, and he's like, man, thank you for answering, because if you wouldn't answer that call, I don't know where I'll be right now.
No shit.
And I had just made I had just came out on live, and right when I got out, he called, and I was just like crazy how.
It's 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 funny because sometimes I get those conversations where I'll have people DM me, or they'll call me. Like, again, most of the people that follow my content are a lot of roofing guys. And I give my fucking phone number out. It's all over my Facebook. Like, I don't care if people text me and ask me roofing related questions, or they call me and say, "Hey, listen, dude, I'm dealing with something with my kids. Like, give me some fucking advice."
Yeah.
You know? Okay, cool, fine. What I get sometimes is superficial questions, and then you really like start talking to people, and you'll notice, dude, that there's a lot of there's a lot of men that are hurting
Oh,
over things, and you'd be surprised how many of these conversations start off superficially, and then you end up realizing, like, damn, bro, listen, like, you saw Theo Vaughn, the Theo Vaughn podcast,
Yep.
and was it Sean Strickland,
yeah.
and how
He just broke down.
fuck, watching that video, bro,
saw it
I
today.
felt it. Like, the group, the my fucking counselor calls it the grapefruit in my chest, and I can feel that, like, that ball, and it starts to come up, and it occupies space in my fucking chest, and it gives me anxiety, right? And I saw that response from Sean Strickland, and I saw how Theo Vaughn was just like, "Let me just be your friend for a minute."
Yeah, he's like,
That was fucking really cool to see two men do that.
Yeah.
And we don't see that a lot anymore. But people like you and I, or even people like yourself, rather, you get these DMs from guys, dude. How does that, when you have those conversations, how does that make you feel?
it makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, like I said, they're grew up where it's like, hey, you can't feel that. You're not supposed to feel it. You get your ass up and go to work. You're not supposed to feel any kind of way, but do this. And it, over time, it eats people up. And, you know, these older generations, they don't, like, you know, there's people that say, my dad never told me he loved me, or my dad never showed me those, you know, that kind of love, because that's what they were raised and taught, until they see a man like
That's
me.
what their dads were taught.
Yeah, they were taught as that, and then they were taught,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, a real man comes out and expresses himself, because you hold that in your whole life, you're gonna be miserable.
Let me ask you a question. How was that growing up, or developing that mindset, coming from the Hispanic culture, bro,
Yeah.
where everybody's real fucking machismo?
But chismo, and they're like, what's depression? You're not depressed.
Yeah, quit fucking crying,
Ponte
yeah.
trabajar, go work, do something, stay busy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm busy and I'm still doing with it. Nah,
Yeah.
nah.
But
You know,
you
you're just trying to be. They always put you as the victim.
Right.
And you don't want to work, or you don't want to do this. You want everybody to be on you. Like, it's like, I'm really dealing with something.
I'm just dealing with some shit.
Yeah, and they're like, nah, just go. And they do that, and then they resent a lot of people when they grow up. You know, so when they reach out to me, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm finally reaching not just my generation, not the kids, but the older ones, so that way they can maybe break a cycle and be like, you know what? Let me
stop doing this.
Let me stop doing it, and let me apologize.
Yeah.
Let me tell my kids I'm sorry, because I've had grown men say, you know what? I was never there for my kids, but I want to be there for my grandkids. And I'm just like, that just broke a chain right
Then
there.
you got to fix that relationship, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's just
100%.
like, that's why I'm just like, okay, well, what I'm doing has some kind of positive in somebody's life, and it's just like, I gotta keep going.
Damn. So what has been like was there ever a time where you felt like what I'm doing is worth it? Like with the social, everything that you're doing with your life. I had an epiphany one day. I had, maybe not, the epiphany is not the word for it. There's a word for it. It's like when you become spiritually aware of what God's plan is for your life. You see a glimpse of it, and you feel it, right? Like, I was driving down the road, and for the first time in forever, I was dealing with some real conviction, you know, and I was just really being hard on myself. And I wanted to listen to a specific song, and I went on my Apple iTunes, and I put on a song, and I started listening down the highway, and I just fucking started crying, dude. Like, I had enough stress and enough anxiety and enough things going on, and I was asking for some revelation and stuff, and had the opportunity to reconnect with the director of the boys' home that I used to live in when I was a kid, and the invitation to come speak to the boys,
Yeah.
and talk to them and to remind them that you're not trash. You know what I mean? People didn't throw you the fuck away.
Yeah.
Like you're 13 and 14 years old. You have 50 fucking years at least of life left ahead of you. It's not fucking over for you. And then having the understanding that the reason why I've been where I've been and I've gone through what I've gone through was because there was 121 boys in Texas that could only fucking understand me.
Yeah.
And that nobody else was going to be able to put themselves in their shoes and tell them it can still be okay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like you can still do something really. Sorry, man.
No, that's
But
the real.
I had that epiphany, if you will.
Yeah.
And it was like that was a really powerful moment for me. You know what I mean? To be like, okay, like God, this is your fucking plan, man. Okay, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever had something like that from your social media content or in your life? Like this is the path.
Yeah. So, like, I grew up, and I ain't scared to share what I went through because, like I said, it helps some people. But growing up, people don't listen to you. You're just like, you're just a kid. Keeping it inside, this is gonna get a little deep, but at 7 and 9 years old, I got molested by my cousin and my cousin's cousin. So growing up as a Hispanic man, it was like you can't talk about it because you're gay or you like men or people are gonna judge you. And then when I got separated from my ex, a month later, like I had so much stuff going through my mind, man, and grabbed my gun, cocked it back, put the gun in my mouth, and pulled the trigger. And guess what? I'm here, right? I threw myself on the floor and I cried all night and I prayed. And now I can use that. And when I hear people say, they try to do the same thing, now I can honestly come up to somebody and understand why. Because before I never had depression, I never thought about suicide. I never did that until I finally went through it. Then you can have that connection with somebody, like how you can connect with those boys at the boys' home, and that's what God wants you to do: is know that you've been through it and know that you can get out of it, and they can see a life testimony rather than just a counselor who went to school and paid thousands of dollars to tell them,
okay.
yeah. And that's why I never wanted to talk to a counselor because I'm like, they hear it, yeah, and they kind of understand it, but they don't live it. There's a different type of connection when you talk to somebody who's actually lived through the same pain and hurt and trauma that you've been through, and see that, hey, this person has, and I can do that too. And it's a whole different ballgame when you actually can. It sucks that we went through it, but now that we went through it, we got out of it, and now we can show other kids and other grown men how to get out of it the same way.
That was like really, really it was difficult for me to hear you say that, bro, because I was 6 the first time, 5 maybe, and for it just fucking sucks, man. You know what I mean? You know how many issues like we're just gonna be real and vulnerable here for a second, I guess. You know how many issues I've had growing into adulthood because of childhood trauma?
Mm-hmm.
Finding out if am I doing enough to be a man because I don't really know what masculinity's supposed to fucking feel like, because I feel like when I was 7 it was taken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this fucking tough, bro.
And being and where I grew up and the teenage, it was like, people were like, oh, you're just a player, you're just, a hoe. And I think it was just me trying to convince myself, like, you're gonna love women. You're gonna. This is you.
Oh, fuck,
this is you.
man.
You have to do this. You have to. It made you seem like a manipulator. Made you seem like a cheater. Made you seem like an asshole. But in reality, you had to. You had to show yourself.
Overcompensate.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm not. But I am.
Right.
This. Don't. no, because
Fuck,
the
man.
voices in your head will tell you, no, you don't like girls. Remember when you were this? This is what happened. This is back. You're supposed to same thing and pass it down. It didn't notice, and I didn't realize until I finally seek the help and got what I needed to understand. Like this is why I acted the way I act because I didn't know any better,
Yeah.
and I was just trying to overcompensate from
Yeah.
the thoughts that were in my mind to say, no, this is not you. This is you, and I had to fight it every fucking day. And people don't see it, and they're like, "Oh no, you're just there's deeper things," and that's why I posted the other day. You don't know what that person's going through
Yeah.
because you can understand from their how they look outside, but deep down inside they've been through a
You
lot of
never
shit.
fucking know,
Never,
bro.
never.
Damn,
Nobody
man.
ever knows people. People look at me and say, "Oh, you're just." I'm like, no. There's a lot of things like what I'm talking about right here. Nobody's ever heard of. This is the first time I ever talked about it.
You ain't lying.
It's the first time I ever talked about that, and I've been it's been on my heart to say like this is why I was the way I was when I was little because and you're a man got into gangs, got into selling drugs, got into fighting, got into this because I had to prove myself like I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, and that's how it's gonna
Thanks
be.
a fucking lot, family. Appreciate it. Sorry that man. I'm sorry that kind of shit happened, bro.
It is,
You
but
know.
then like I said, that's why I am with my kids because I never had that even, and I can't blame my parents.
You ask my daughters, and then the next time you see them, hey, what's your daddy's job? And they'll tell you to be safe.
Yeah.
It's a fucking. I ask them at least 2 or 3 times a week. Hey, what's your daddy's job? And they both say to keep me safe. Goddamn right.
Yep. And that's why like I said, like it's just I have kids now, and I can't blame my parents for how they raised me because they were taught like this, and it's just my my dad's dad taught him like this, and he saw how his dad treated him and his mom, and so they just passed it down. They didn't know how to break those chains.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to break them. I just broke them.
When I was a kid, I thought my grandparents were like had the perfect marriage.
Oh yeah.
My grandfather was 47 year retired Marine veteran, right? He's 70 something years old, been through World War II and all this shit. Loved my grandma. They had dinner together every night, watched TV, Wheel of Fortune, all this dumb shit. Slept in the same bed. Been married for 67 fucking years. Rah rah rah. I didn't find out that there was a bunch of drama and cheating and yelling and fights and stuff till I became an adult, and I was like, no wonder.
That's why I tell people,
no
like-
wonder my mom and my dad were all fucked up. Their parents were
Yeah.
fucked up.
And you know, I was actually gonna make a TikTok about that the other day because people were like, "Oh, I want that old school, my grandparents kind of marriage and love." You can handle that shit. Do you know what your grandma went through? Do you know what your grandma went through before you were conceived?
Hey, domestic violence was a real fucking thing
I
in the
swear to
50s
God.
and 60s, bro.
I swear
That shit was
you couldn't handle that. So you can't.
That's what you want?
Yeah, yeah. After 40 years,
Remember, she couldn't get a credit card or vote.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there was, you know what I mean?
That's
Let's just hold on, man. Pump the
exactly.
brakes.
Like
You know?
people don't understand. If you want the reality, that's the reality.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, a lot of your grandparents hated each other. Your
Mad as
grandma
fuck.
wanted to leave, but guess what? Back then, what could she do? Nothing.
Nothing.
Go with another man who's gonna beat her.
Yeah.
Stick with them.
I don't fucking want that shit.
Yeah.
I don't want that. And I think that, you know what's really weird is that because we've had a glimpse of what chaos and turmoil looks like I understand clearly what the fucking enemy is for my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen where they're going to go if they don't take the advice of people that are, successful and qualified to counsel them. I've seen where people end up when they don't follow the fucking rules. I've seen what happens when the children are in chaotic and tumultuous relationships, between boyfriends and parents and their boyfriends or girlfriends and shit. I've seen all these things. So for me, the enemy of my children is very clear and is very real, right? To me, there's a lot of shit that I have to feel like I have to protect my kids from, and it can be fucking hard. It can be real. It's tiring. It's a very tiring job especially with 3 fucking kids, bro. Especially as they do not slow down, man. They don't. They power down like computers at fucking 8:30.
Yeah.
They go to sleep like androids, These are back on. You know, they're
ready to
up,
go.
and they're running. They're up and running, but I love it, dude.
Yeah, I
It's,
wouldn't change it for the world, man. And I'm like, sometimes because now I get them for 7 days and they go with their mom for 7 days. So it's like the 7 days, like kids are gonna be kids. You missed the yelling, you missed
You do.
the arguing, the fighting, and the nitpicking, and dad and dad and dad. And it's just like those moments are the moments you're gonna regret when you are not there.
Yeah, when you don't have them,
Yeah.
you damn sure do.
Yeah.
I have my son, almost 2 years now. He's right underneath that, like 20 months. He likes to throw things over his shoulder towards the driver's side of the truck. You know, when you're driving, he throws things at you. And I first experienced that in my wife's truck, and I was like, when does he start doing that? He wants your attention. Look at him in the mirror. And I was like, oh, what? You know, I start talking to him. But I'm like, damn, sometimes I feel like my wife spends so much time with my son. They have a bond that's obvious.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. But sometimes my son will get tired of her, and he'll be like, all right, I'm all about dad.
Yeah.
And I just soak it up because it doesn't happen as often as he is about his mama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a pretty cool thing for me, and I'm getting to experience that. But yeah, man, wow, dude, what a fucking weird conversation. That took a really serious turn there for a second. And I'm glad that it did, dude. I'm glad it did because it helps me understand you and hopefully helps you understand that I fucking understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it, dude. I damn sure get it. I want to thank you for being on the show, bro.
And I thank you.
I appreciate it. That really fucked me up, dude. I'm not gonna lie, hearing that really hit me very close to home. You know what I mean? Because I can identify with that. To go back to it real quick, touch on it. Every job that I feel like I've ever had, from construction to wildland fire to everything in fucking in between, security, all the bullshit. Everything I've done, I felt like has been in an effort to do the most masculine shit I could find. From being obsessed with working out all the fucking time, to the tattoos, to the fucking, to everything, bro.
That's crazy, yeah.
And and a lot of it, and I've already dealt with a good portion of this from my counselor. That's why it doesn't trigger me the way that it used to, hearing some shit like that. But it creates like a really deep empathy. Yeah. Because I'm like, fuck, bro, I don't ever want people to feel like what I felt like. Yeah. And now that's why when I say like I'm sorry, man, is because I know, again, from the beginning of this conversation, unfortunately, you have been through some shit that would probably break most motherfuckers. And I ain't seen you break yet, dog. And I'm proud to be your friend, man. And I appreciate you being on the show tonight, dude.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it more than you think.
Appreciate you, big dog. I really do, brother. Hey, listen, guys, stay tuned, Roofing Underground, and follow me on Facebook at Dave Taggart. If you're not already checking Jacob Lopez out, he's going to be tagged in a video. Go to his TikTok. You got a TikTok, right?
Yeah.
What is it, a TikTok?
It is, I don't even know.
It's Jacob Lopez or some shit. Like
it'll be on I'll have it on my Facebook. If you follow me on my Facebook or Instagram, it's gonna be on there. So
yeah, your TikToks are all linked. Everything's all linked together. Y'all need to go check it out. He's got a lot of funny stuff on there. He's got a lot of really good advice and really good content that I think a lot more people should be sharing. Content from content creators that have obviously done some shit and are obviously qualified to speak about the things that they're talking about. So follow Jake Lopez over there. That's gonna do it for us today here on the show. We are going to grab this thing here and do this real quick. Sorry guys, running my show from my little handy dandy monitor over here. That's gonna do it. We're gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys coming on to the show. Thanks for watching. Your boy Dave, the Roof Poppy, your favorite roofer's favorite roofer. I am out.